Welcome back, baby. It's tiebreaker time. It all comes down to here. This one's for all of the marbles, every single one of them.
I want some marbles.
Well, tough. Well, this is the end of North American relegations, and like we said earlier, due to a three-way tie, Los Amigos 2-0'd, Kingdom 2-0'd, and Noble Esports even found themselves with a good old 2-0. In the event of the three-way tie with no clear victor, all teams get randomly seeded into a single elimination best-of-1 bracket with the top seed with the auto buy into the SCL. Kingdom Esports came out on top as the #1 seed, so Kingdom Esports, congratulations and welcome to the Smite Console League. It all comes down to this. Noble Esports will take on Los Amigos, and it's a single game. No best of threes, no best of fives. Who's the best? Put all the money on the line, and the team that wins winds up in the Console League.
Going to see a lot of action. We've already seen these two teams battle it out the last two games around. Los Amigos doing a great job so far in the last two games. All they have to really do is continue their strategy with this aggressive solo jungle level 1/2 invades.
Exactly. We'll see if Los Amigos can answer back. This time around, things go in Amigos' favor, and they will have the first selection here in Noble versus Los Amigos. The bans as well coming out in their direction. We'll see how this one flies.
Just as that paper flew.
Los Amigos, they've had a lot of success. They had minimal success with the Neith mid approach. I don't think if I'm Los Amigos, I go in that direction. But they also have not had success fighting against a Fenrir. So a rare first pick option for the Fenrir ban.
Fenrir, well, it means that maybe Los Amigos, they don't necessarily want to play it because it's not going to provide that early pressure that they want in every single stage of the game. Now, you're relying on the Fenrir to find more of the team fight objective control once he gets the ultimate form.
Bacchus was a first pick for Los Amigos earlier in the day, and it will be the same here one more time. Again, that aggression that you were talking about, that early bounce in, allowing Los Amigos to start things off hot, will be their selection, and Zeus is the answer from Noble.
They instantly take it away.
Very quick.
Like the Bacchus was taken away from Noble Esports. Zeus, though, is still the strategy that they're leaning on. It kept working the first and the second game. They want to make sure that it's successful for a third time in a row.
With the Ravana in tow, Noble Esports have a very strong pressure in the short lane, and not a lot of pressure early on in the mid lane, but it's about the characters around Zeus that we'll see what will allow that to happen. And Neith will be the choice for Los Amigos, but this is some flex, can wind up in mid or over there in the Hunter role. Los Amigos, with one more option available to them, will wind up picking a character around here.
The Neith didn't really work out for them in the mid role the first time around because of just all the pressure that they had. And whenever you have a Neith in mid that's 3-4 levels behind a Zeus in the opposite side of things, it's never a pretty sight.
Yeah, not going to be a pretty sight. The Osiris selection from Los Amigos, love it. I like the Osiris. It worked out last game for the enemy team, so Osiris is going to be tried out on Los Amigos, and Susano will be the selection for Noble Esports, likely in the jungle with Ravana over there in the short lane.
It's fight fire with fire, picking up the Osiris for Los Amigos in the solo lane. It doesn't matter that there's a Ravana on the opposite side. You can still fight 2v2 as long as your jungler is not too weak.
So Los Amigos focusing their bans on the support role, Sobek being banned out, and then Sol and Thor from Noble Esports. So Noble want to make sure that the Neith Sol combo doesn't really happen, and Thor is just a little too potent as far as being able to chase Susano around the jungle, so he won't be available either. Los Amigos will have the option after Noble select Hou-Yi.
There's still a Giannis available for Los Amigos if they wanted to do the global route, where you have the Neith for the World Weaver, you have the Giannis through space and time. There could be a lot of pressure onto the solo lane, forcing now Ravana to be the victim.
It's possible. We'll see where Los Amigos want to go with that. I think if you're a Los Amigos fan at home, you got to be rooting for this Neith to wind up in the Hunter position and a good old-fashioned mage. And it will be that case. Vulcan will be the mid lane of choice, and I think this is an excellent combination. The Fenrir into the old Vulcan, certainly a great choice.
Yeah, with Raijin being banned off the table for Noble, Vulcan definitely can do its job as well. Fenrir allowing so much pressure level 1 into it. I love the adapting of the strategy from Los Amigos.
Yeah, the adaptation. Why don't you go a little bit deeper in there? Talk to us about how Los Amigos have made the adaptation here in our third successive game against Noble.
Well, the first game around, I think that they had the Xing Chen in the support in the solo lane position, so they got invaded. Second game, they had Ao Kuang in the jungle. Got invaded.
Got invaded.
But now it's Osiris and Fenrir and I don't want to invade that composition.
Exactly. Again, very important adjustments. And, you know, it's interesting. It's certainly not a best of 3. This is a single game separated, but you've got to use the intelligence that you've gained earlier in the day. So whether it's against you or in these round-robin type formats, your opponent against other opponents. So Noble have shown their strategy of invasion against Los Amigos and against Kingdom for what it's worth. And Los Amigos will now head back to the drawing board with a different strategy.
And not only did they switch their god selections between solo and jungle, they also added the Wrath on top of LayersOfDeath, something that he hasn't been doing throughout the day. So now he's just trying to keep up the pace of clearing the speed and the blue, making sure that nothing's too crazy in the solo lane.
Right. Noble went for the invade strategy against Kingdom game 1, and Kingdom's response to game 2 was going with the Wrath to deter the invade. Los Amigos, they went the way of changing up their draft, but they'll also couple that with a change to the way the relics are chosen as well. So good selections all around from Los Amigos. We'll see if it actually pays dividends, however, as these two teams go at it one more time.
I would say that overall, though, Yo-Yo on the Susano not having purification against this Fenrir is going to hurt him more than the side of LayersOfDeath, because Ragnarok provides you that crowd control immune ultimate with the Ragnarok.
Susano doesn't have that same availability on his ultimate, so he will be a little bit more susceptible to the damage out of, or the crowd control, excuse me, out of the Fenrir, out of the Bacchus, out of the Neith ultimate, out of the meatball from Vulcan, even though very rarely do you see players purify that one out. Brief pause here, folks. We'll get back into the action in just a moment. Noble Esports versus Los Amigos again. The winner of this game coming out will definitely head on into the Smite Console League. Both of these teams look very accomplished, and both of these teams certainly will fight their hardest to wind up there.
Yeah, and in the dual lane specifically, we have Neith against the Hui. You're talking about balance. You have one that wants to box, always fight, picking up the death toll in the boots, wanting to have the extra sustain, but it's a balanced Neith that's going for the Transcendence, has a decent amount of potions for herself, as well as having Unravel for the sustain.
Well, here we get the standard start coming out from the guys across the board. No invade shenanigans, and that, again, very big deal. Noble Esports won their last 2 games against Los Amigos pretty much off of invade strategy, and now with that off the board, it's just good old-fashioned Smite. And Los Amigos, even in those 2 games, did make some strong plays.
LayersOfDeath making the rotation, cleaning up those archers, not going for the left side mids quite yet. If they wanted to, they could have waited potentially for Noble to come back into middle from those rights, and maybe collapse on Fire Giant Elementals even.
But look at this, look at the pathing. The Los Amigos make the call, and it's going to be an early rotation. Level 2 over to the dual lane because of how aggressive Noble Esports have been. Stun onto the support. There's the Brutalize as well. Damage coming out. Vulcan shows up, not going to find the kill onto the support, and a 4-man rotation does not wind up with a kill.
The purification was used onto Lou as well, taking so much damage as LayersOfDeath doesn't have any escapes available, and that's going to be first blood to Yo-Yo again.
The other direction. Noble Esports with the counter gank. Lovely play by Los Amigos, but the damage split up. Geb uses rollout. If there's any other character there in the support position, Anatoly, that winds up being first blood for Los Amigos. But instead, they choose the wrong target. Noble able to make the response and even catch Michael on the way back to mid lane. So Noble play it safe, and they don't get the invade, but they still wind up with 2 early kills.
Great mindset from Noble. They knew that the rotation from Michael was made in the dual lane. They have a ward on the bottom left side. They knew that the Vulcan was going to wrap around underneath, finding a quick and easy second kill. Noble, they're going to probably snowball this again.
Los Amigos certainly have to watch out to make sure that doesn't happen. I think Los Amigos was feeling very strong and very happy about their adjustments. They very intelligently changed their relic choice, and they very intelligently changed their draft. They go for the early kill, and unfortunately it bites them in the behind. Noble again wound up with the early lead. Anatoly, this cannot feel good if you're on Los Amigos.
I'm surprised they went for a Geb. That's just a naturally more tanky target than the Hui. Right off the bat, Fenrir does a lot of base damage, but there's not that much health on the side of a level 3 or 2 Hui at the time, as opposed to a Geb.
Yeah, just like I said, wrong target prioritization. And the kills go to Noble. So now the duo lane should about even out. You can see no real lead as the first blood went into the jungle, as well as the secondary kill. So no real lead in the duo lane, so expect that one to go back and forth. A little bit of clear going the way of Neith, but really should be about even. It's this mid lane that Los Amigos have to be worried about. Again, the kill on the jungler, so not mid lane specifically, but the mid lane location, because jungle calls that a second home.
And with 2 kills onto Yo-Yo, he's finished the warrior tabby. He's going to keep making these rotations. Left side mid Harpies weren't taking the whole time, and pleasantly surprised, Yo-Yo just going to casually finish it.
Yeah, just sort of bonus bucks on top of everything else with those mid Harpies. So Noble Esports again find themselves very quickly 1,500 gold or so in the lead before the game even really begins, Tolly.
Red buff being started by Los Amigos, and now Yo-Yo, after clearing this mid wave, I wouldn't be surprised if he looks for a speed buff invade, but they don't know exactly where Los Amigos were, unfortunately for them.
Right, and you know, I love to see this sort of Los Amigos getting conditioned by Noble Esports. Excellent play from Noble Esports earlier in the day, and you got to have a quarterback memory when it comes to a devastating defeat. You have to be able to forget losses very quickly, but you have to remember the choices that they've made. So the grouping up of Los Amigos to deter the invade onto the red buff, 3 players deep, does just that, but also allows the players to group up for an early gold fury. Los Amigos still down a little bit, but inch closer with a 4-minute gold fury.
Recognizing that Noble were clearing out the mid wave, they saw that Noble went into the solo jungle side, leaving the left side completely exposed. Los Amigos capitalizing on a free gold fury.
Here's the invade for the first time out of Noble onto the jungle out of Los Amigos, but this time helped out by Neith out of the solo lane. So Solo still in trouble, and that's going to be a kill onto Dr. Lil Cabe. But again, Los Amigos had help from Neith out of the duo lane this time, excuse me. So it looked a little bit better, but Noble still wind up on top.
And the speed buff still down, so not going to be able to pick that up is LayersOfDeath. Yo-Yo doing a great job. All 3 kills under his belt, level 7.
yoyoabc off to a tear on this one. Like I mentioned earlier, Anatoly, Noble Esports, they're 2 real carries. Super winds up dealing the majority of the damage and getting the kills, but their 2 carries, LOU and ABC, really wind up setting the game up for Supra. And this is what you're going to see. You're going to see this 300 on the Susano early on, and because of the domination that Yo-Yo's able to have right now, Super will be able to respond with that amount of power and damage later on in the game while he plays his Zeus.
I would say that Susano is going to probably be able to outshine Supra at this point in time. With his current pace, he's almost finished the Void Shield on top, sitting about 1,000 gold over his opposition from the Fenrir, still making the rotations, forcing the backflip, gonna get pulled back in, and just casually poking and walking away.
Yeah, casually poking down at 50%. Los Amigos respond with 3-player rotation here. It's the core, jungle, mid, and support. And they're going to meet up with 4 players on Noble. Those 3 plus a hunter. So bad spot for Kenshin to be in. But he'll get away safe-ish as he takes a bunch of poke himself.
Well, LayersOfDeath right around the corner. World Weaver being popped. Ragnarok. This is the problem with not having purification. And just like that, to respond is Los Amigos.
Great play, but here comes the response from Noble Esports. Knock up stun, and LOU knocks him down. LayersOfDeath gonna fall down jungle for jungle.
DaleyDale not in position, unfortunately, to get the Geb shield off. We're relying on that Geb shield to cleanse the Ragnarok without having the purification, but still finding the return kill. LayersOfDeath not able to find the farm necessary to catch up to Yo-Yo.
Not just yet. Still very early on in this game, and this is a fun matchup to watch, totally, because I still think Los Amigos have a horse in this race. They're very, very strong, and we're seeing that come out of Noble East. We're seeing that come out here against Noble Esports, but Noble able to find the counter kills because of the very early start given to Susano.
So lane still being big bullies, having 2 melee mains next to him. Dr. L shouldn't really be taking this trade at all.
No, he should not. Winds up on the bottom side of it.
Just going to be able to walk away, licking his wounds, going to back to base. His teleport is available, getting the tier 2 of the breastplate, whereas now RedderRippr has his teleport still available, can still continue to poke. Blue buff has respawned.
Kenshin in some trouble, gets pulled on back. It's 3 players grouping up on the support. He's able to jump all the way back to the back Harpies. You'll see LayersOfDeath rudely interrupted. And Geb and friends will invade onto the speed.
kind of telegraphing that they're invading the speed as well. Typhoon contesting, going to find the knockup, casually walking away. The speed buff has been stolen.
And there's the play. Looking for more is going to be the jungle. They've isolated one player, and he'll be able to jump all the way away. So not that big of a deal for the guys on Noble. They get the steal, and they get away.
Osiris did back. Teleport not available. Now Robin's going to be able to push out the wave, and if he wants to, he could be... Oh, Lou, though, he has to be careful. He doesn't have any mana.
Yeah, Cameron hit him with a giant spirit arrow. Looking for more, no World Weaver available, so Cameron going to have to let this one go. But that was Cameron capitalizing on the standstill, the momentary standstill from the ultimate unleash out of the Ho Yi. Cameron noticed that in the instance and hit him with the shot.
We see other gods such as Agni with the bomb stunts. Before, back in the day, Zeus's ultimate used to be able to give you that slow stutter step during the ultimate, so he could be the prime target for that split second.
And a lot of times that's where we saw Naja and really those gods that take him out. That's where they came really into play. Zeus changed just a little bit, so now he'll be safer in that regard. But Ho Yi still suffering with the stutter step. No kill for Cameron, however, as the ultimate unavailable from the last time that Noble tried to invade. This fight, however, certainly one Osiris wants to take. Red in some trouble, but not going to find the kill as a sickle off the mark, and we'll see the retreat.
But
not
Fenrir
the case for the dog.
Fenrir is here, finding the easy, brutalized, hitting level 9 off of the kill, but he doesn't have any escapes, and Zeus is around the corner trying to clean up, as well as Susano.
Nothing for free is what Noble Esports are saying. Dr. L barely gets out of there, and that's a great play from the guys on Los Amigos protecting the solo lane.
And now, barely able to escape was the Fenrir. Great job going back into the tier 1 tower. Zeus was covering the option behind it. Now look at this. Neith is just pushing on the left because of the rotation being made from LayersOfDeath.
And this is exactly, that was a very intelligent call from Los Amigos. That was the first time all game, pretty much all game and the last 2 games, that Los Amigos were able to make a play without Noble Esports responding in kind. So still 1,000 gold lead on the way of Noble Esports, but Los Amigos finally look like they're able to fight into this one.
It looks like maybe Noble are grouping up around the gold here, but recognizing this, they have a rotation from Dr. L in the mid, just in case anything sneaky's going on.
Keep in mind, both teams have the Wrath available, so if there is a Gold Fury play, it's anybody's objective as long as zoning is not a part of the conversation. There's the ult again, farming the player without the purification. Michael over the top, that's 2 for the Vulcan.
Geb Shield was just a little too early. It cleansed the World Weaver, but it didn't cleanse the Ragnarok immediately afterwards. So finding the easy kill, still finding another stun onto Lou, gonna find the belly flop as well.
And there's the kill, LayersOfDeath off to a tear, 2-2-2 for the jungler. Noble Esports able to look towards the Gold Fury, but with proper zoning, that's all they'll be able to do. Very low is the gold, and out comes the Wrath, and the objective goes on down. Los Amigos has neutralized their early game mistake, which gave Noble a large lead. And we've got a tie game here, folks, at 10 minutes.
Noble have to be so careful with their positioning around this Fenrir and the World Weaver, even if it is point blank range or further away. Now, Geb has to be a little bit more on the mark with these shields. The whole point of the Geb pick was to counter the Fenrir. It was last picked for Noble.
Yeah, I mean, the choices out of Los Amigos have been so intelligent. Having the Neith ultimate in the Hunter role all the way across the lane, so it didn't work out in the mid because Los Amigos forgoes AoE damage, burst AoE damage like Vulcan or Zeus. So they shift the Neith over to the side lane, but what you still maintain is protection for the invades. Every single time Noble has tried to invade, they're met with an extra World Weaver, and that alone has really been able to stop Noble's entire whole invade strategy. Very intelligent, crafty stuff coming out from Los Amigos. I have to applaud it.
And now better than ever, this is where everything is on the line in this best-of-1 tiebreaker. The winner of this one will qualify to the SCL in North America.
And like we said, no invades, no early game strategy. Now, 12 minutes in, it's a tie game. Nice, good old-fashioned Smite. I got to say, Tully, I'm very excited.
And we're going to see basically more aggression now with Los Amigos having the lead. They're going to find the Sentry Ward counter. They're still grouped up with this Bacchus Fenrir. They can even go on this Geb if they really want to.
Yeah, Los Amigos now, as I said, tied the game up. Now the pressure and the wind in the sails of Los Amigos. You can see the left side pushed up just a little bit. The mid lane pushed up, and Fenrir rotating in between mid and left, ready to jump on somebody at a moment's notice.
He was probably going to jump on the dual lane. Hu-Yi a little bit overextended. Neith Worldweaver can be a big factor. Purification is up, however.
LayersOfDeath shows up. There's the jump. Worldweaver hits. Ragnarok gonna wait out, but he's too early. Right in the suns and coming on through. Here's the jump. It's down. And Cameron gets the last hit. That's 5 for Los Amigos as LOU sits down.
You gotta save the cleanse or the Ragnarok, not the Worldweaver. Whether it's a Geb Shield or the Purification, you cannot be taken outside of your Tier 1 tower. That is the protection that you need to survive that kind of a dive.
The Ragnarok, the Ragnarok has been an excellent selection as well. I think the Fenrir Neith combo has really been what's done it. Zeus still alive, Purification for the moment, but LayersOfDeath makes the rotation early and gets the kill from left to mid. LayersOfDeath finds 2 successful kills. One of them was an assist, but it's really about the playmaking out of the Fenrir.
And now they're grouped up in the mid. They're going to go for this Tier 1 mid tower. Geb around the corner. Doesn't have Blink available. Just going to come from behind.
And even if Geb is here, he finds an excellent ultimate if he pulls the trigger, but there's no follow-up, so he saves the Cataclysm. Love the play. All Geb has to do in there, walk in, hit the knock-up, and there's no damage follow-up, but Los Amigos still have to be afraid enough of the potential. So very well done by DaleyDale.
At this point, Los Amigos don't really have the tower shredding capabilities in their arsenal, so there was no immediate threat for the Geb to use the Cataclysm, just holding on to it for a better timing.
That's one of the downsides of having the Neith. Your tower killing potential is sort of taken down just half a step, but Fenrir and Osiris certainly adept at taking the towers down once they get a little more items and levels alongside themselves. So as we approach the mid and later game, the tower killing potential will go up for Los Amigos.
And it's now Los Amigos, Dr. L, that's going to try to go for the invade, barely off the, not off the mark, but almost stealing that speed.
Just barely off the mark. That one, not quite the case. Another one. Hey, we've seen this one before, right?
Well, Purification was down, and that's going to be another kill in the duo lane. Hu-Yi being punished, and now 2-level advantage for this Neith.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen every single time Ragnarok is up if Los Amigos have their way. It's proven, even with the Purification, that the Hu-Yi's not going to get out of that issue. So, up, down, left, right, LayersOfDeath just going to look to farm this duo lane, and Susano has to answer.
Has to answer, but can't really do much in a 1v2 spot. The rest of his team being zoned out as Vulcan and Bacchus are in between the middle and left-hand side. Gonna wrap around underneath, finding the knockup. Bacchus belly flop. A little off the mark, but should be able to secure this Tier 1 for free.
I see what Bacchus was going for. Bacchus was going to land on top of the teleport location from Susano, but still just a little off the mark.
Just off the mark. But the meatball kind of deterred the jet stream from teleporting. Yeah. But either way, still successful Tier 1 tower siege on the left, extending their goal lead to about 3,000 now. Or,
yeah,
sorry, 2.
Yeah, 2,200. Certainly worth talking about. Los Amigos also up 3 kills as well. Noble Esports fighting not from behind just yet. When you're down this much, it's all about trying to find plays like this. Gold Fury being started, Cameron's in the area, and that's enough to take Noble off of it, looking for a pick. On to Michael. Backstab helps him out, but Susano's still available. Not in range.
Love the mindset. No one to protect him. He knows he has to back off before getting pulled by Susano. The stun not on the mark because there is no runes. Finding the Purification on LOU, however.
And that's the smart play out of LOU, using the Purification for the Ragnarok. This time it's not available. Jumped over the Vulcan ult. Great play out of LOU. And he'll drop the Suns to stop Los Amigos from pushing forward even further.
Sprint was used, trying to find another kill. Yo-Yo barely able to escape, just being a big bait, poking out kills. him and running away, but Osiris is not running away. He's running into the opposition.
Finds the jump and tether onto 3. LOU's in trouble. LOU gets stunned. LOU's done. Dr. L puts a fork in him. 2 fights. Geb in trouble in the jungle. And 3 players make that 2. DaleyDale falls right on down. Susano does not have a dog in this race. He's got to walk away, and the gold tree will be attacked and probably taken by Los Amigos.
They have the Wrath available. All the members from Noble are zoned completely away. The 17-minute gold fury for Los Amigos, uncontested, going to extend their lead to about 4,000. Should be able to get this tier 1 immediately after.
Yeah, Los Amigos are really showing their true colors in this matchup here, Anatoly. I think this team has a lot to learn as far as macro strategy. When it comes down to how do you respond to your opposition, that's going to be a big problem for Los Amigos. But I think when it comes down to just raw talent, I gotta say, Los Amigos right now against Noble, which is a team that I personally love, I think Los Amigos are showing that they're the stronger squad.
Well, they were definitely able to adapt once they figured out a way to adapt. They found the solo and the jungle 2v2 composition. They found the Wrath that they needed to keep up the pace with Yo-Yo, and they've just been on the money with these counter rotations as well.
Exactly. Los Amigos, they picked their problem in picks and bans, which was absolutely numero uno. But, you know, when it comes down to it, Los Amigos, Noble is, like I said, one of the most experienced teams out there, so they're able to bring these sort of playbook strategies out. Los Amigos really need to work on that, and hopefully we'll be able to see that, whether it's in the Challenger Cup or the Smite Console League. The 2v2 in the solo lane going the way of Noble.
But Checo taking out Yo-Yo in the jungle, cutting off his potential into the solo lane, and now on the left-hand side, LOU trying to get this tier 1, not having anybody here. This is what you have to do when you're behind. You have to be the one split pushing.
I mean, that's what we saw at Assault for Los Amigos the entire, you know, Cameron did that the entire last set, which gave Noble the win. But the rotation, and I love that. The teleport out of the Osiris to the other side of the map, because Los Amigos already have 4 pushing up the solo lane. Osiris knows that he's not needed there, goes exactly where he's needed, able to defend the tier 1. Wrap around, collapse play coming out from Los Amigos. Redder takes a lot of damage, not enough to put him down just yet.
He's out of the fight completely though, even despite not finding the kill. They basically force him out. If they wanted to keep the pressure, they could have went for the tier 2. They didn't have a wave, but they're feeling really spicy. They're going to start the fire.
All right, Los Amigos, after 2 devastating losses, have a hot turnaround play, and now they're going to start the Fire Giant at 20 minutes, even before then. Zoning doing well. Can they confirm it? Fire Giant comes down. Michael gets a kill on top of it. Los Amigos fighting 5 onto 4 with the Fire Giant. They might lose their solo laner. Trouble for the Osiris, but he'll be able to walk out of the Suns. Los Amigos still pushing forward. LayersOfDeath leading the way. He's in trouble. He's going to get killed.
Not enough. Didn't have the Sanctuary available for LayersOfDeath, opting for the Purification after the Wrath. Finding the Fire Giant with that Wrath, however, is allowing Los Amigos to keep up the pressure. They're going for this tier 2. Nobody from Noble here.
That's an adrenaline play coming out of LayersOfDeath. That winds up honestly being a mistake. You can see that the wave of minions right there, ready to fight into it. Noble Esports wouldn't have been able to play defense anyway, but LayersOfDeath, he's sitting there. He's like, hey, we zoned him. We got fire. I'm going. He falls down, like I said. Misplay. Noble Esports making the defensive set here on their tier 2 in the mid lane. Still going to lose it. 1,500 going the way of Los Amigos, but Noble Esports looking like they want to make some defensive play.
They have to try to go for something with the respawn coming from LayersOfDeath. He was using the Purification earlier, so that could be something that Noble look for. Look for a pull, but nowhere to go is Yo-Yo during the root and the knockup.
The combination shot out of Vulcan took yoyoabc from just barely beneath 50% to just barely beneath the ground. An early shallow grave for the jungler, just out of the pure power. Check the do more on the Vulcan. Absolutely swinging and bringing. Both mid lanes have been able to bring a ton of damage. Both separated by less than 200 damage. Look at that.
They're just battling for the #1 spot right now, but it doesn't matter. It matters more about the team.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, the player damage is nice at the end of the game. You can brag about that all you want, but whose team was better on top?
And right now, it's certainly looking like Los Amigos. It's been Noble earlier on in the game. Right now, however, like I said, Michael gets another kill with a strong backfire. 6 1 and 2 for the mid lane Vulcan.
Just no wards on the side of Noble. They know that Los Amigos wants to play aggressive, and there's no tier 2 tower mid or right. There's only one remaining on left. Obviously, Los Amigos are going to head on over there. Very just out of position, I would say, on Lou.
Two-pronged attack, as is standard. Los Amigos up about 10,000 plus gold. Osiris leading the charge in the mid lane, just pushing Noble off the Phoenix.
Their foot is still on the gas pedal, finding the knockup onto Geb, triple intoxicate. The Vulcan ultimate gonna zone away Yo-Yo, but still throwing at that Typhoon. Geb ultimate coming out as well.
And there's a good play out of the support, but he's just gonna get turned on. Phoenix falls down as well. Knockup gonna be backflipped over, but Ravana still in trouble, forced to ult over the wall. Layers of Death, Adrenaline is running. He goes deep again and finds the kill onto the solo lane, allowing his team to pick up the right Phoenix.
There was nobody to respond off of the aggression from Layers. Second Phoenix being started by Los Amigos. Gonna find it for free, basically. Layers of Death still forcing the Sanctuary out of Supra, finding the knockup onto Yo-Yo.
2 dead. Titan being aggressed on. Los Amigos trying to make the play for the console league. Layers of Death filled with adrenaline, dives into the fountain, tries to bring a player out, but it's all about the Titan. Noble Esports tried to do their best, but ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Smite Console League. It's Los Amigos.
They were able to bounce back from their previous 2 games against Noble. Great adaptability behind this squad.
I mean, these guys played fantastic Smite. They played fantastic Smite in the Challenger Cup finals here. They play fantastically against Kingdom, and Noble seemed to have their number in 2 separate games. Los Amigos got trounced in game 1, beaten badly, but make a step towards betterment in game 2, and then game 3, finally figure out Noble Esports' combination, lock all 3 numbers in, and then right on down, Los Amigos winds up in the SCL.
This is what you have to do in order to get to the SCL or even the SPL. You have to be able to bounce back from these losses. Get it out of your mind. It starts fresh to the next game, especially in a best-of-1 tiebreaker.
I say it all the time. Smite is a game of adaptation. If you're unable to adapt to the changes that your opponent is bringing, you're unable to really make it happen. We've seen 2 teams today wind up on the good side of things. It's Kingdom, and it'll be Los Amigos making their way into the Smite Console League. Congratulations to those 2 teams, and welcome to our proper Console League. That'll do it for us today on the desk. We've got Europe coming at you guys tomorrow, so tune in for that. For everybody here, myself, Pecky's, Adonis, and everybody else, especially Pecky's, he gets 2 mentions. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Good night.